Welcome to the part 2 of the Discovery series. In part 1 of the series, we looked at how IT infrastructure grows as business grow. Let's expand on the use case to brief it further. As cheap flight expanded, they added databases, added storage devices for PDF files, added additional load balancer for high availability, wanted to consume data from airlines and other operators which needed a private connectivity to their services, and obviously connectivity to internet. Now, each of these items that you see on this screen are CIs, that is configuration items, which is defined as the physical or logical components that need to be managed to deliver a product or service. And that's what CMDB consists of. There are multiple ways to load data onto the CMDB tables, but our focus for the day is Discovery, an automatic tool that scans and identifies IT infrastructure components, including physical and logical components, to create an up-to-date record in ServiceNow CMDB. Let's start with credentials required for Discovery. As you can see, credentials are required at 3 levels. First, at ServiceNow instance. This user should have mid-server role, and this account will be used for creating records in ECC queue and AMP channel. Mid-server will use this account for communicating with ServiceNow instance. And this account details like username and password will be required during mid-server installation and will be configured in the config.xml file on mid-server. Let me show you the user that I have used on this instance. mid_server_user is the one, and if we go down to the related list, we can see the mid_server role assigned for this user. You are likely to see an error like this if this role is not assigned. Okay, back to credentials. The second one is the account on the host machine where mid-server app is running. This account will be used to run any program or services on the host machine. Example, starting a service or stopping a service, etc. During the installation process, a record for this account is created in the Discovery Credentials table. Moving on to the third type of credential, which is the account created on the configuration item to be discovered. This credential will be used to connect and collect details during different phases of discovery. ServiceNow supports multiple types of credentials depending on the capabilities of the targeted CI. Next, let's look at how mid-server communicates with ServiceNow instance. As part of mid-server installation, an AMP channel gets created in ServiceNow instance. An AMP channel is a full duplex WebSocket connectivity between ServiceNow instance and mid-server. On the mid-server, we have AMP HTTP client that subscribes to the AMP channel that just got created. As you might already know, the communication between mid-server and ServiceNow instance happens through an external communication channel known as ECC queue. Here is the sequence of transactions that happens during the communication. Any message intended at mid-server gets placed in the ECC queue as an output message. That triggers a message creation in the AMP channel. Mid-server continuously checks for any new message in the AMP channel, consumes this message, and inform ECC queue monitor to fetch the record from the ECC queue on the ServiceNow instance, and places this record in an output queue, which is an in-memory queue on the mid-server. Depending on the availability of worker thread, this record or task or an instruction is handed over to the worker for fulfillment. On completion of the process, a response message is temporarily written to a file in the input queue, and then later ECC sender sends this message to ECC queue as an input message in ServiceNow instance, which will be processed by the respective sensor available on the instance. Let me demo you this transaction on the instance now. I have opened Discovery Credentials, ECC queue, and AMP message in 3 separate tabs. Let me create a new Discovery credential and show you what happens on the other 2 tables. You can see the output messages and the input messages back from the mid server. The reason why you are seeing 2 records each is because I have 2 active mid servers running on this instance. You can see the AMP messages for this transaction, again 1 each for each mid server. Let me open the record and show how AMP messages looks like. Here is the mid server channel. Let's check the ECC output message. And get the SysID to check the mid server log. Let me search with the SysID and you can see the ECC queue monitor record here, and up above you can see AMP HTTP client logs, and if we scroll down we can see the worker starting. You can see ECC sender has sent the ECC message in the input type, and if you take the SysID we can go and search it in the ECC table, ECC queue table, to find out the corresponding record. With that, we have come to an end of today's demo, and in the next part of the series, we will talk everything about SNMP based discovery. Thank you for watching.